The moment I tapped into your energy today, it felt like somebody's heart got cracked wide open after keeping the truth locked up for way too long. Like a quiet confession that had been shoved deep under pride finally busted through the surface with a weight they couldn't carry anymore. Spirit showed me this super clear scene. Your ex sitting across from someone they trust, someone who's seen them fall apart without saying a word. And in that raw moment, all the walls came down. No excuses, no ego, just truth spilling out like they couldn't stop it even if they tried. And let me tell you, they didn't speak with confidence. They spoke with the kind of shaky guilt that hits a person when they realize they messed up big time with the one soul who was actually real with them. Spirit showed me the air around them tightening the second that confession left their mouth, like the truth finally forced itself into the room and demanded to be acknowledged. Your ex admitted that their whole perception of you had been shaped by fear, their own insecurities, and the messy opinions of people who never understood the connection you two had. They confessed they were out here chasing distractions with no depth, while you were the only one moving with sincerity. A sincerity they never knew how to respect. It was like watching someone finally see themselves in a mirror and not liking what they saw. Spirit kept showing me your person with their head in their hands, whispering that they should have taken the quiet moments more seriously. They realized your softness wasn't manipulation. It was genuine loyalty. They said they mixed up your patience for pressure, your consistency for control, your love for conditions, when in reality, you were the only unconditional thing they'd ever touched. They admitted they brought chaos when you brought clarity. They chose confusion every time you tried to bring calm. And the wildest part, they finally saw how their own emotional avoidance created the heartbreak they later blamed on you. But here's the twist. The friend didn't respond with pity. Oh no. Spirit showed me this friend dropping some real talk. No sugarcoating. No babying. They told your person straight up. You weren't wrong about them. You were wrong about yourself. They told them that they kept projecting their own mess onto you, assuming you'd always be around to soothe their emptiness, assuming you'd always catch them every time they spiraled. This friend told them that you were the only stable force in their life, the grounding energy they treated like it was temporary. And that's when it hit your person like a punch to the chest. The temporary thrills they kept choosing over your sincerity are exactly what pushed them into emotional burnout. They finally realized the people they entertained, the rooms they stepped into, the habits they indulged in, were nothing but noise keeping them from facing themselves. Truth is, they were searching for validation in all the wrong places, ignoring the one place they actually felt safe, you. Spirit says the harder they tried to outrun the depth of your bond, the heavier the emotional weight became, like their conscience was dragging them back to you, reminding them, pushing them, making them feel what they tried to avoid for months. And just when you think that's the end, Spirit showed me something even deeper, because the next part reveals the exact words your ex said when they finally admitted what they never wanted you to know. Spirit pulled me deeper into the vision, and the energy shifted fast, like the moment someone finally stops running and realizes the truth has been chasing them the whole time. Your person wasn't just confessing anymore. They were unraveling. They started admitting things they never said out loud, because saying them meant they couldn't hide behind excuses anymore. Spirit showed me their voice trembling, like every syllable felt heavier than the last. And then it came out. The thing they never wanted you to know. I pushed them away because I didn't think I deserved someone like that. Yep, that part hit like a truck. They didn't leave because they didn't care. They left because your consistency made them confront the parts of themselves they didn't want to deal with. Your love wasn't too much. It was too real, and real scared the hell out of them. Spirit kept showing me flashes of your person replaying old moments like a home movie, rewinding every time you gave them grace, replaying every time you were patient, pausing on every moment they shrugged you off because vulnerability felt like a threat. They realized you weren't asking for perfection. You were offering partnership, and they didn't know how to show up without feeling like they might mess it up. Spirit showed me this moment where your person admitted to their friend that every time they saw you show love, real love, they felt exposed, like you could see straight through their bravado, past their silence, past their tough act, straight into their wounds. And instead of letting you help them heal, they ran back to whatever felt easy, familiar, or loud enough to drown out their own emotions. But that's not the brutal part. No, the brutal part was when they admitted they tried to replace you. They tried to find your energy in other people. They tried to find your patience, your vibe, your softness, your loyalty. But every time they thought they'd found someone who could distract them, the illusion cracked, because no matter who they talked to, laughed with, or entertained, nobody mirrored the same emotional depth you naturally brought. It was like every person they met made them miss you more. Their friend called them out on that too, told them straight up, you weren't looking for a new connection. You were looking for a shortcut back to your old one. That hit your person hard. Spirit showed me this heavy silence falling over them like the air thickened. For the first time, they realized they weren't grieving the relationship ending. They were grieving the version of themselves that sabotaged something genuine. Their guilt wasn't about losing you. Their guilt was about realizing they were the reason they lost you. Spirit showed me your person sinking into this emotional fog, trying to figure out how they went from being your safe space to becoming the storm that pushed you away. They kept blaming timing, stress, work, other people. But now they see the truth. The problem wasn't the circumstances. The problem was their avoidance. And the craziest part? Spirit says they've been wondering if you somehow sensed all of this before they even admitted it to themselves. But hold up, because Spirit suddenly zoomed in on a new energy. Something shocking that shifts the whole dynamic. Ready for next part? Because the final part reveals the unexpected twist that your person never saw coming, and how it's pushing them right back toward you. Spirit pulled me straight into the turning point. The moment everything flipped on your person. Up until now, they'd been drowning in regret, replaying memories, owning the truth they avoided. But then Spirit showed me something wild. Something they never expected would hit them this hard. It started when your person tried to distract themselves again. Scrolling, talking, going out, pretending they were cool, calm, and unbothered. But this time, every attempt backfired. Spirit said the universe wasn't letting them run anymore. Everywhere they turned, there was some reminder of you. Your name popping up in random places, songs you liked playing out of nowhere, people who barely knew you mentioning things that sounded way too familiar. It didn't matter how hard they tried to numb it. Your energy kept boomeranging right back to them. Then Spirit showed me the twist. Your person heard something about you, and it completely shook them. It wasn't gossip. It wasn't drama. It was the realization that you'd finally shifted your focus. You weren't waiting around. You weren't chasing closures or trying to prove your worth. You were investing in yourself, moving different, glowing in a way they'd never seen. And that right there, that's what cracked them open. Spirit showed me their heart dropping into their stomach because the moment they realized you'd found peace, real peace, they understood exactly what they'd thrown away. They expected you to be stuck, They expected you to linger, but you outgrew the version of yourself they kept trying to place in a box. Your glow-up became their wake-up call. What hit them even harder was watching other people noticing you. People who saw your value instantly. People who didn't fumble your energy, didn't hesitate, didn't treat you like a backup plan. Spirit showed me your person getting jealous, even angry at themselves, because now they're seeing what they refuse to appreciate, and others are seeing it too. Their friend told them something that broke their ego completely. You didn't lose them to another person. You lost them to the version of themselves you refused to meet. That was the final punch, the truth that shifted everything. Your person started spiraling with what if questions. What if I had opened up sooner? What if I had healed instead of hiding? What if I hadn't pushed them away? What if they're moving on for real this time? Spirit showed me them pacing, restless, realizing that every step you took forward felt like a door closing behind them. But here's the part Spirit zoomed in on. This isn't just regret anymore. This is awakening. Your person isn't just sad. They're finally understanding the depth of the connection, the value of your presence, the weight of their silence, and the consequence of their avoidance. And now, they're planning something. No more running, no more hiding, no more excuses. Spirit says they're preparing to come forward, not with half-truths, not with pride, but with real vulnerability. They want to tell you everything they couldn't say before. They want to own the past, acknowledge your pain, and ask if there's even the smallest chance to rebuild something authentic. But the question is, because the next message will reveal exactly what they plan to say when they finally show up. The moment Spirit let me tap into this energy, it felt like someone finally cracked open a truth they'd been dodging for way too long. Your person told their friend something wild, something they never had the guts to admit before. They said your connection wasn't the kind of thing you could replicate by just grabbing somebody new. It wasn't based on comfort, convenience, or, oh, this is easy. It was based on something way deeper: authenticity, alignment, and emotional realness. They told their friend that talking to you hit different, not because you sweet-talked them or told them what they wanted to hear, but because you spoke from a place of emotional depth they didn't even know existed inside them. You didn't hype them up with empty words. You didn't play games. You weren't trying to win. You weren't trying to impress. You just were you, real, grounded, intuitive, and that shook them. They said you didn't entertain them. You woke them up. You didn't stroke their ego. You mirrored their soul. You didn't chase them. You challenged them. Being around you made them feel seen in a way that was both comforting and straight up intimidating. And real talk, they weren't ready for that. Their emotional toolbox wasn't put together enough to handle the level of truth you naturally brought to the table. But the gag is, now they're drowning in the very silence they created. Spirit shows me your ex thought dipping out would make everything lighter, easier. They thought the intensity of the connection was too much, like they needed space to figure themselves out. They really believed the world outside your bond would feel breezier. But life outside the connection didn't serve clarity. It served confusion. It didn't hand them peace. It slapped them with noise. It didn't offer depth, just surface level vibes that hit like a sugar rush and crashed just as fast. Now they're realizing everything they were out there searching for was in the connection they fumbled. They went looking for answers and found emptiness. They went looking for clarity and found chaos. They went looking for freedom and found loneliness. Spirit shows me the moment they admitted something heavy. They said they hope it's not too late to grow into the version of themselves who can actually meet you with honesty, They said they're finally unpacking emotional patterns they ignored for years. They said they finally understand what they lost. And the worst part is they can't unsee it anymore. This is their internal shift, the one they've been avoiding. They're not chasing distractions. They're chasing meaning. They're chasing alignment. They're chasing the emotional center they once ran from like it was fire. Spirit reveals something else. After they opened up to their friend, the room went silent, because even after everything they confessed, there was still more truth stuck in their throat. Something heavier. Something they didn't want to admit but finally did. They said the hardest part wasn't realizing they were wrong. The hardest part was realizing you were right the whole damn time. All the warnings, all the instincts. Every time you said something felt off. Every boundary you tried to set. Every moment you tried to protect the connection. They see it now. They said you weren't overreacting. You were seeing with clarity they didn't have yet. You weren't embarrassing them. You weren't judging them. You were trying to help them grow. And they hated how much truth you could see. And that's exactly why they pushed you away. But listen, Spirit is showing me this confession was only the first crack in the dam. What your person admitted next. Yeah, that's where things get real messy, real emotional, and real revealing. If you think this first part was intense, you're not even ready for what's coming in next part. Spirit pulled me into the next wave of this energy. And wow, things got way more real than they were ready for. After admitting they pushed you away because your truth made them uncomfortable, your person finally told their friend something deeper, something they spent months pretending didn't exist. They admitted that the whole time they were pulling back from you, they weren't choosing someone else. They were choosing escape. They said they ran to whatever felt easy, not because it was better, but because it didn't require accountability. Whoever they entertained after you didn't challenge them, didn't mirror their flaws, didn't ask them to level up. Those people weren't connections. They were distractions, noise, band-aids on emotional wounds they refused to treat. Spirit showed me your person saying this with so much shame that their voice practically cracked. They confessed they would talk to someone new, joke around, flirt a bit, just to feel something, anything, that wasn't the pressure of dealing with their own heart. But every single time, they felt empty, unfulfilled, bored. They said nothing hit the same because those moments didn't pull anything real out of them. It was all surface level validation, and it wore off fast. Spirit said your person finally realized they weren't avoiding you. They were avoiding the version of themselves they were becoming when they were with you. A version that was softer, braver, more honest, more open. And that scared them because they thought being vulnerable meant losing control. They didn't realize vulnerability is where real connection lives. Their friend gave them the cold truth. Every place you ran to was a downgrade from where you came from. That hit your person right in the chest. Spirit showed me their energy dropping when they admitted that the sadness they carry now isn't about missing your presence. It's about missing the clarity and emotional grounding you brought. You weren't just a person to them. You were a mirror, a lesson, a catalyst, a compass. You brought alignment to their life without even trying. And now they're realizing that losing you didn't just remove a person, it removed direction. Then Spirit showed me something that made the whole room shift. Your person said that every time they tried to convince themselves they were happier without you, they'd get hit with some random memory of you, your laugh, the way you reassured them, the way you said their name, the way you saw their potential even when they didn't. They said your memory didn't visit softly. It hit like a punch. They said you weren't just someone they dated. You were the one who helped them see versions of themselves they didn't know existed. You were the one who made them feel safe emotionally in a way they never felt before. You were the one who challenged their walls without trying to tear them down. Spirit said the wildest part is that your person knows you're not perfect either. But you were honest, intentional, emotionally mature, and willing to grow. And that's exactly what they weren't ready for at that time. Now, they're ready. They just don't know if they're still allowed to say it. Spirit showed me them wondering if they even have a place in your story anymore. That fear is what's keeping them quiet, not pride, but that silence. It's about to break because Spirit is showing me your person is planning something big, something they've never done before. Next part reveals exactly what they want to do next. And trust me, it's the twist you didn't see coming. All right, now Spirit's taking me straight into the finale of this energy, where everything your person buried finally comes to light. After all the hiding, all the avoidance, all the pretending they were fine, your person finally admitted the raw, unfiltered truth to their friend. And it's heavy. They said straight up, they didn't just lose someone. They lost their own reflection, the version of themselves that could rise to meet real love, not just comfort or convenience. They said, you didn't just love me. You made me see myself in ways I was too scared to face. They admitted the depth of your emotional presence freaked them out back then because it demanded honesty, accountability, and growth, things they weren't ready to give. But now, they see that avoiding you didn't make life easier. It made life lonelier, emptier, and colder. Spirit shows me their friend asking the question that finally broke them open completely. So, what are you gonna do about it? And your person froze for a beat because deep down, they already knew the answer. They've been replaying every missed chance, every silent moment, every time they let fear dictate their actions. They admitted they want to reach out. They want to apologize. They want to say all the words they left unspoken. But there's a caveat. Fear still lingers. Fear that the timing is off. Fear that the damage is permanent. Fear that they might not be welcome. But Spirit says this is the turning point. Because even with that fear, something inside them shifted. They're not the same person who ghosted you, ignored your truth, or doubted your clarity. They've done the work, emotional patterns, avoidance, defensive walls, all of it. They've looked in the mirror and finally faced the parts of themselves they ran from. And that's huge because Spirit says growth like this doesn't just vanish. It changes how they operate in love forever. They admitted they still feel tethered to you in a way that defies logic, even in silence, in distance, in the mundane rhythm of life. Your energy is there. They feel it when they think, when they dream, when they pause and sense the emptiness your presence once filled. And Spirit says this awareness is exactly what's about to shift the trajectory of everything. Because awareness plus growth equals action. Your person said, I don't just miss you. I miss who I was becoming with you. And I can't let that go without trying to honor it. That's the raw truth. No excuses, no walls, no hiding. They're ready to show up differently, ready to speak truth without fear, ready to meet love where it actually lives, in depth, alignment, and presence. Spirit shows me a final layer. Your person isn't just coming back for closure. They're coming back for authentic connection, the kind they avoided before but now crave. They're not looking for perfection. They're looking for realness. They're not looking for convenience. They're looking for growth. And Spirit says, The universe is already aligning circumstances to give both of you a chance at this next level connection. If the timing feels right, Spirit says this is the moment where everything changes. What your ex just admitted isn't the end. It's the ignition. The next chapter is about raw honesty, aligned energy, and a connection so real it rewrites everything you thought love was. Stay tuned because the next reading is going to reveal why this confession had to happen now and what the universe is positioning for you next. Trust me, it's about to hit harder than anything before.